have an ordinance on second reading. Ordinance 091-301 is an ordinance by petition to supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick. These are tracking ordinance. Ordinances on first reading. Ordinance 101-301 is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, Chapter 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Loading Zones. We have resolution 101-301, which is the resolution to approve agenda amendments. Resolution 302, approve payroll from 9/15/13 to 9/27/13. Resolution 303, is a resolution to authorize refund for redeemed tax sales certificates. Resolution 304, approve person-to-person and place-to-place transfer of liquor license from EGYMS Inc., trading as a nightclub, to HKCD Corporation, trading as Huey's Nightclub. Resolution 305, approve amendment of resolution 081-360. The reason is to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $307.80 to Bill Wallach for the matter of Eon versus Mandagno from $54,222.53 to $54,530.33. Resolution 306, authorization for removal and installation of equipment for police department. This is under state contract from Quality Communication System for the removal of 12 old modems and installation of 12 new modems, not to exceed $3,325. Resolution 307, approve amendment of resolution 07945. The reason is to increase in this period of 4 additional months for recreation division with Rico USA, formerly known as Icon Office Solutions, and the amount is $420. Resolution 308, approve amendment of resolution 011-350, professional service agreement for 2013, engineering and support services for water utility. The reason is authorization for inspections of dams, Davidson Mill Pond, Barrington Dam, Western Mill Pond, and Western Mill Arch with McDonald, not to exceed $20,000. Resolution 309, authorize release of copy machine for recreation division for 48-month lease from G Capital Information Tech Solution doing business as Rico USA for 1 digital copier, not to exceed $122.81 per month, beginning November 1st, 2013, and ending on October 31st, 2017. This is a state contract. Resolution 310, approve off-premise raffle kits at Middlesex County Administration Building, 75 Byers Street, for Air Share New Jersey Inc. The date is on December 10, 2013. Resolution 311, authorize interlocal service agreement with the New Brunswick Board of Education for the reimbursement for various services for 2013-2014 school year. The amount is $1,008,000. Resolution 312, authorize interlocal services agreement with the New Brunswick Board of Education for reimbursement for various services for 2013-2014 school year, and the amount is $1,100,000. Resolution 313, approve resolution of need for HMHA financing for Hoffman Pavilion Senior Housing. Resolution 314, approve request for use of city property requested by Hyacinth AIDS Foundation. The location is 4 Memorial Park for the National Latino AIDS HIV Awareness Day on Tuesday, October 15, 2013, with a rain date of October 22nd, 2013. The time is from 10:30 to 5 p.m. Resolution 315, approve request for use of city property requested by Rockers Recreation. The location is Boyd Park, Gazebo on Borby Street, in front of the boathouse, for intra-fraternity Dragon Boat Regatta at the Rockers Boathouse. This is on Sunday, October 13, 2013, from 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Resolution 316, approve request for use of city property sidewalk only, requested by Jose Negron Jr. The location is Hill Street between Ransom and Lee Avenues for a date of remembrance for 3 murder victims, with notification on Wednesday, November 13, 2013, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Resolution 317, authorized purchase by police department under state contract from Chas Winner doing business as Winner Ford for 2014 police interceptor utility vehicles, not to exceed $51,530. Resolution 318, authorized purchase by police department under state contract from Dade Chevrolet for 2014 Chevrolet Tahoe 4x4, not to exceed $62,447 with 18 cents. Resolution 319, authorized purchase by police department under state contract from Dade Chevrolet for 2014 Chevrolet Tahoe 4x4, not to exceed $213,320 with 38 cents. Resolution 320, approval award contract with Prime Point Inc. to furnish and deliver 2 outdoor IP video recording systems, not to exceed $16,010. Resolution 321, authorized purchase by Tyler Wright on the state contract from Quality Communication System for 1 mobile radio, not to exceed $574.50. Resolution 322, approve authorization to advertise for the furnishing and delivery of membrane models for the portable water filtration system. Resolution 323, authorized application, execution, and acceptance of grant with the Department of Law and Public Safety, Division of State Police for 2013 Emergency Management Agency, assistant application for funding for fiscal year 2013 with fees $5,000 with an in-kind match of $5,000. Resolution 324, authorized purchase by police department of the state contract, computer contract from Quality Communication Systems for 1 Panasonic actuator kit and accessories, not to exceed $7,964.54. Resolution 325, authorized purchase by police department on the state contract from Quality Communication Systems for the installation of a mobile equipment, not to exceed $1,235. Resolution 326, authorized purchase by Construction Code Division, Housing Inspection Division, Fire Prevention Division, and Parks and Shade Tree Division under state contract. This is from Electric Fleet Services for 4 2014 Jeep Patriots, not to exceed $72,632.75. Resolution 227, authorization to rescind resolution 081-21 and make award of contract with All Seasons Maintenance for changing of lots. The term is 24 months, beginning on October 3rd, 2013, and ending on October 2nd, 2015, not to exceed $21,500. Resolution 328, approve request for solicitation of funds requested by Rutgers University Dance Marathon for Dance Marathon 2014 to benefit the Grace Kids Foundation on November 9, 2013, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Locations are George Street and Albany Street, George Street and Commercial Avenue, Eastern Avenue, and Hamilton Street. Resolution 229, approve Chapter 159 budget insertion, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for the conference in the amount of $315,211. Resolution 330, authorized purchase by police department under state contract from Morpho Track Inc. for 1 life scanning system cabinet and 1 duplex fingerprint card for printer, not to exceed $39,125. Resolution 331, approve request for street closure and use of Monument Park, requested by the Rosette City Market. Street closure location is Livingston Avenue between George and New Street on the freeway side. This is for the holiday tree lighting, snowmobile, and performers on Friday, December 6, 2013, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Resolution 332, approve a order contract with GRN Facilities Management Inc., doing business as GRN Compliance Services for temperature control, HVAC, maintenance, and repairs. The term is 4 months, beginning on October 3rd, 2013, and ending on October 2nd, 2014, which can be extended on a yearly basis for up to 2 additional years, not to exceed $34,500. Resolution 333, approve ABC liquor license renewal for New Brunswick Investment Group, LLC. Resolution 334, approve a word of contract with Suburban Consulting Engineers for professional engineering services for the relocation of water and sewer mains in Charles Street, not to exceed $38,400. This is for an offer. Resolution 335, approve amendment of resolution 091-20, change order number 6 with Tecton Development Corporation for Remsen Avenue Fire Museum and Community Center. The amount is $15,780.78. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. Resolution 336, approve amendment of resolution 091-20, change order number 7 with Tecton Development Corporation for Remsen Avenue Fire Museum and Community Center. The amount is $19,752.09. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. Resolution 337, approve amendment of resolution 091-20, change order number 8 with Tecton Development Corporation for Remsen Avenue Fire Museum and Community Center. The amount is $13,726.92. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. Resolution 338, approve amendment of resolution 061-336. This is for the authorization for statement of consent for the amendment to water quality management plan. Resolution 339 will be holding until the next meeting. Resolution 340, authorize the use of performance guarantee and balance of site inspection fees to Triple C Housing Inc., Promise House for 91 Redmond. The amount is $44,772. Resolution 341, approve amendment of resolution 091-20, change order number 9 with Tecton Development Corporation for Remsen Avenue Fire Museum and Community Center. The amount is $18,313.15, and the approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. Resolution 342, award professional service agreement with Stantec Consulting for handrail design at Union Square, not to exceed $1,750. Resolution 343, approve appointment of Margaret Hoffman, JSC retired, of the law firm of Boris Walden and Foley, Bignolo, Hyman and Stoll, in place of Judson Hadley, retired, for hearing officer, and this is in reference to the review of internal affairs complaints, not to exceed $12,500.
Madam Council President, on that, it is for the purpose that sets forth here, and when I put this resolution together, I made a mistake. In paragraph 4 and paragraph 6, please change the hourly rates to 300 and 200 as opposed to the 250 and 180. I will see that that is retyped in the morning so you can sign the correct numbers.
Resolution 344, approve off-premise raffle at 21 Union Street for Phi Sigma Sigma Foundation on this November 9th, 2013. Resolution 345, approve a contribution for Colonel John Nielsen statue to be erected in Monument Square with New Brunswick Public Sculpture Inc., not to exceed $10,000. Resolution 346, authorized application for grant to the Middlesex County Cultural and Heritage Commission for Paint Our Town event in the spring of 2014. This time, this is it. Mr. Hamilton, nobody else to add? At this time, the meeting is called to order. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Council Vice President Egan.
Here.
Member Fleming is absent. Councilmember Garlotti.
Here.
Council President Escobar.
Here. Please be advised that the notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act have been complied with and satisfied in that the annual notice, which gives sufficient notice of the time and place and conduct of all public meetings of the Municipal Council of the City of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the City of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Tribune. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please let's pause for a moment to honor those Americans and Afghans who have lost their lives in the war in Afghanistan. Thank you. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of September 18th.
Madam Council President, before I make that motion, I'd like to point out that there's a small typo in the dates. The council meetings were held on August 21st, September 3rd, 2013. So with that small notation, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Have a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. We have an ordinance on second reading. We have ordinance 091301, which is an ordinance by petition to supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick. This is the fracking ordinance. At this time, any questions from the public on this specific ordinance? If you do have a question, would like to make a statement to the council, please come forward to the microphone, state your name and address, and please direct your question to the council president, please.
Hello, yes. Apologize. Hi, my name is Elliot Warren, and I'm an assistant canvas director with the Fund for Public Interest in our office here in New Brunswick with Environment New Jersey. And well, here at Environment New Jersey, we take a very aggressive stance when it comes to any issue that threatens our environmental values and the beautiful places that we all love. I'm from Western Massachusetts originally, and in my backyard I got to see the devastation that fracking can cause. In the town of Springfield, Massachusetts, just over a year ago, a square city block was completely blown up because there was a leak in a gas pipeline. My father was investigating this leak, and he was knocked unconscious while he was evacuating the premises, making sure that everyone that worked within that business district was evacuated. We at Environment New Jersey have over 20,000 citizen members, and we know where they stand. They each represent hundreds of other citizens that, if given the chance, will vote the exact same way. When it comes to fracking and the deadly byproducts that are created by this nasty practice, we have one answer. Stop it entirely and keep it out of the Garden State. Bob Smith, over in Piscataway, the chair of the Senate Environment Committee, agrees with us. Our neighbors in Highland Park have decided to take the right position on fracking, and we need to stand in solidarity with them and ban it here in New Brunswick as well. We all fully understand the importance of taking away the chance before it is seized and sending a message that frackers and anti-frackers alike will hear clearly that our families refuse to watch as our environment and our health is threatened. By standing together and sending a concise message, we're ensuring that our neighbors in other towns will feel this pressure and support us in doing the same thing.
Thank you.
Now, 1.2 billion gallons of water are wasted every single year over in Pennsylvania because of fracking. Now, we have far better uses for our water. And to date, we have no guaranteed process for actually cleaning up this dirty byproduct of fracking. So we're seeing the implementation of open pit storage of this nasty waste byproduct in the areas where drilling is occurring and in nearby areas. Now, these pits have been found to leak, and that creates a hazard in our soil and in our drinking water. If fracking were to happen here in New Brunswick, well, we get our drinking water from the Raritan River, and if that river became polluted, then that would threaten all of our health.
And thank you, Mr. Elliott. We have heard that before, and we thank you, and that's what we're going to be going on.
Right on.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, Council. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Lauren Petrie. I live at 124 Bayard Street. I'm also an organizer for Food and Water Watch. I just want to reiterate that there are no benefits to hydrofracking, and I want to applaud Mayor Cahill for showing up a few weeks ago to an event that we held at the New Brunswick Public Library. We did our screening of Gasland 2. He did show up, and he did tell me that he greatly supports the work that we're doing to ban fracking here in New Brunswick. I also want to restate there are hundreds of toxic chemicals that are used in the fracking process, none of which we want near our drinking water resources or our communities. We're talking things like benzene, toluene, diesel, just to name a few. 15 years ago, we never would have expected to see the devastation that we're seeing in states that are currently hydrofracking. We look across the United States, Wyoming, Colorado, Texas, Pennsylvania. Thousands of cases of water contamination. Texas, they're hydrofracking next to schools and shopping malls. People think that you can't do it in a major city. Anywhere that the industry thinks they can profit, they will do what they have to do. Whether it's next to a middle school, they don't care. In Colorado, we saw a few weeks ago the major floods that were happening. If you were reading the news, there were many hydrofracking sites and waste pits that were being, were washing down into communities full of these toxic chemicals. We saw Superstorm Sandy last year devastate the shore. This is not something that we want to be dealing with if this ever happens again. No, nothing can protect us from the kind of devastation that a superstorm, creates when it's mixed with toxic hydrofracking waste. Thanks to federal exemptions from critical pieces of legislation, designed to protect our public health, Clean Water Act, Clean Air Act, Superfund, Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, we'll be the ones left cleaning up. We'll be the ones footing the bill when something like that does happen here if we allow fracking to occur. USGS surveyed recently that there's up to 1.6 trillion cubic feet of natural gas right beneath our feet here in central Jersey. The industry stands to make about $12 billion. Private industry gain, not for local people.
Yeah, we have received that information, and thank you that helps
Yeah.
all the information
Thank
that
you.
you guys have brought to us to make a very informed decision. So
Okay.
thank you.
So I just want to say on behalf of the 500 citizens, or the 500 residents here in New Brunswick that signed the petition to ban fracking, on behalf of folks that are here tonight, took time out of their work schedule, their family schedule, to show up in support of a ban. We urge you to protect our health, our community, our water, and our future. We urge you to ban fracking here in New Brunswick.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Caitlin D'Agostino. I'm currently a student at Rutgers University. I live in New Gibbons, A6105. A little bit taller. 3 years ago, I came into this room as someone who's a little bit younger, 20 years old, and I convinced every single person over here that it was really important that we have a hydration station out there. And you guys thought water was that important, that you wanted to have access to it, and good water here in City Hall. And right now, I'm a national campaign coordinator and a local coordinator here at Rutgers for a campaign called Take Back the Tap, which works to protect water, make sure it's potable, make sure it's clean, and an available resource for everyone. If we give in to fracking in New Brunswick, we are putting the citizens of New Brunswick at a huge health risk. I've seen it. You go there, you run the water, you put a match, a lighter to it, and it can catch on fire. That is not something I ever want to see in my city. I want the water to always be drinkable. I want citizens to have access and to know that the city that they live in is safe, that they don't have to worry about getting sick and getting a disease. And there are statistics, which I'm sure you already are aware of, as you are aware of many good things. And I think that if this is a health issue concerning our city and the people in our city, then we need to really take this seriously and not do it, because I care about our citizens, and I hope that you do too, so much that you don't want them to be sick, you don't want them to be devastated, and I know that maybe for some businesses they can make money, but is money really worth it when so many people are sick, dying? No. I say we put the health at first, and we care for our citizens, and we make sure that the water here is clean. We're not doing practices that are going to cost us money in the long run to clean it up, and that we care about our citizens.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, Charles Prattville, New Brunswick. I just wanted to join in the position that you should totally pass this. It's time that New Brunswick does it. Highland Park beat us to it, but we can be the second town in New Jersey to do it. And if you're not convinced yet, the offer's still on the table to go to Pennsylvania and see. I had the experience of working there on this issue and dealing with folks who were affected by it. It is nothing short of heartbreaking. We don't want it to happen here. So please, I encourage you, do the right thing tonight and support this ordinance. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
I live over at 123 Livingston Avenue. I just moved into the New Brunswick area from upstate New York, big area where they want to start fracking, specifically my mom's backyard. This issue is very, very personal to me, and especially here in New Jersey. I know that New York State will pay attention to what happens here. And like Charlie said, Highland Park already took care of it, ban fracking here as well.
Thank you.
I'd like to move the ordinance. Move the ordinance, please.
Second. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Reagan.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.
That means that we ban fracking in New
Fracking
Brunswick.
in the- Before we continue with the meeting that, and I'm going to reiterate what I said at the last meeting that we had. I congratulate those who went out there to talk to the residents. Sometimes, it's good to hear from residents in a large scale. But sometimes you lose sight, when you're doing things, over and over, you lose sight. So, and I think it was great. We took every information, that piece of paper that you brought to us, we read. So even though it took us a while, we did our due diligence. And again, thank you for taking on an issue and doing the right thing in a democratic way. Going out there, talking to the people and making it happen, so thank you. So,
Thank you. We have
an ordinance on first reading, ordinance 101-301, which is an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the city of New Brunswick, chapter 10, vehicles and traffic. This is for loading zones. Can I have?
Move the ordinance setting down October 17th for public hearing, same date to be advertised.
Can I have a second? Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Reagan.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.
Madam Council President,
Yes.
I want to point out, that's a Thursday. The
Oh,
next
that's-
meeting is on a Thursday.
The next council meeting will be held on a Thursday, because on Wednesday there is elections. So So we are gonna, hold it on a Thursday, so keep it in mind for those of you who usually attend the council meetings. We have resolutions 301 to 346, and we are holding resolution 339 and amending fixing, right, correcting resolution 343. At this time, any member of the public wishes to address the council on these specific resolutions only.
Good evening once again, Charles Prattville, Brunswick. I have a few questions. The first was about number 13, the Hoffman Pavilion Senior Housing. Is there a time frame on when the housing will be replaced there?
It depends on the actions of the state. If they provide financing with us, as Mr. Prattville knows, we've been trying for a number of years to put a financing package together with this because of some of the cutbacks that have happened with some of the federal and state funding. It's taken longer than originally hoped for, but there are a couple of new funding sources available, which is what this is about. So hopefully the state will be able to fund that, and they'll be able to go with that in not too distant future, but I can't put a date on it.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, just a couple. The 18 and 19 are purchases of police vehicles. I wanted to ask if that contract was fair and open, or I guess it's using a state contract.
It's under state contract.
How does that work? So how does that work? I'm just, forgive me, I don't.
Mr. Hamilton, can you explain to your parent about the state contract?
Yeah, with the state contract, is provided, it gives a fixed price that every municipality can use to acquire the particular goods, commodities, vehicles, whatever it may be, from that vendor at that price.
So is there a bidding process involved?
No bidding.
No, because they are part of the state contract, they have to already have a specific vendors that the state provides.
The bidding was done by the state.
Right.
Municipalities are allowed to take advantage of it.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask about the home grant, number 29. What specifically is that money going towards?
It's going for affordable housing projects haven't been identified. This is just taking our annual home grant after the contracts have been signed and just placing it, inserting it into the municipal budget so that it's available to use for the eligible purposes of home.
Thank you. Wanted to ask the 34, is that going to hopefully solve the flooding problems at that intersection with Charles Street? Is that what this is meant to address?
It's a both thing, that's the one in Charles Street, the one with relocation of water and sewer mains on Charles Street, and tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about that.
that's one step, that's one part of it, but yes, it's a step forward in that resolution of that area.
Thank you. And, yeah, just one more, I believe, about the water, a change to the water quality management plan, number 38.
The last one, I know that's the county who has the plan for that.
It is a stormwater management plan, and I would respectfully ask if you might get Tom Goulden's thoughts on that. He's the party who manages that.
Yeah, we, like other communities in the county, had adopted this resolution some time back, and unfortunately, the county, when they put it forth for a public hearing, I'm not sure exactly what their problem was, but their legal advertising wasn't acceptable, so they had to redo it. But it's actually involved with our sanitary, wastewater system.
It was mandated by the state DEP, but they didn't
Understood.
figure out it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, forgive me, one more question. Number 43 is the appointment of a new hearing officer for the internal affairs complaint process. Can I ask why that change is being made, and how many cases did the prior person hear?
The replacement's being made because Judge Hamlin asked to step down as the hearing officer, and no hearings were conducted by Judge Hamlin during his tenure as the hearing officer.
And can I ask how much was he compensated for serving in that role?
0, because he
He
didn't
never
conduct
got
any
to
hearings.
do anything.
Okay, so he wasn't paid for the year of that one. Okay, thank you very much. That's all I have.
Anybody else wishes to address the council on the resolutions that we just mentioned? With that,
Move the resolutions.
second. Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti,
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes. At this time, the floor is open for any public member who wishes to address the council. I ask that please come into the microphone, again, state your name, state your address, and address the council president. Thank you.
Hello, yes, my name is Danielle Moore. I live at 211 Joyce Comer Avenue. I'm here today to ask about Joyce Comer Park. What is the delay of doing the work for Joyce Comer Park?
Mr. Rocky, we haven't answered why we have done some, but we haven't.
I see the markings and all, but I'm going to this for a reason.
We want to try to answer that question right now, Mr. Daniel.
I don't know the answer to that. Tom, could you assist? The demolition is, I believe, set to happen any time, but I don't know.
They're actually going to be out there Friday, finally. We've gone through the bid process, we awarded a contract, we got shop drawings in for the steel and the footing, foundation work and what have you. It's all finally been approved and we should be out there starting Friday. Put up their temporary construction fence, then they will tear down the structure, and then they will excavate, put in their footings and start the new building.
Okay, my concern is we're asking you for Joyce Comer Park due to where the bus route has been changed, where I have over 25 pictures here of the city, the Board of Education, and the police department, where you're gonna have to work something out, where I understand from Comstock Street, due to where your construction is going to be, that gate is going to be closed to the children and the buses, where the buses come around to Baldwin Street, inside the Adult Learning Center, in their zones, letting the kids off. You have kids going all in one direction, coming out of Pell Street, right along with the buses. That's very dangerous for our kids. Now, if you take the time to look at these pictures, it's over 25 pictures to show proof of what I'm talking about, to make it safer for our children at the bus stop.
We will look at the matter, thank you for bringing it up, and I'm pretty sure that they thought about it, but just give us.
Oh, believe me, I know they did not think about it due to where the superintendent, he saw me taking the pictures.
I know, what I'm saying is that I'm going to take it, duly noted, your observation, just give us a picture and we will make sure that.
Okay, and then one more thing I would like to bring up about Hale Street. Due to where, this is where the bus exit from the Adult Learning Center. I will give you all the pictures, you're welcome to have it. Due to where this is a two-way, how can, I don't know if it's the city or the Board of Education, put down cones saying do not enter, and where this is mixing up with the traffic with the bus station and the public?
As far as, to the best of my knowledge, the one that assigned bus stops is the Board of Education. They are the ones who have that, they do that. In terms of the phones, I don't know who the phones, so we can find out for you. So I'm not sure who did that, but the Board of Education, they are the ones that designated different bus stops in the city.
Well, okay, like I said here, if you may take these pictures and go over them, please, to make it safe for our children.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Thomas McCarthy. I'm at 16 Brookside Avenue. I've been here twice before, about 12 Brookside Avenue. Actually, I wanted to thank the council because something finally happened this morning. They started work on the house. They completely disrupted the birds. They're everywhere now. Since it is the first day of the work, we'll have to see how, if they do take care of it. There's a lot of holes in the roof, so all the birds are going up in the attic now versus the porch. But as of this morning, they started work, and I just wanted to thank the council, because that's close to 2 years, and something's finally being done, so hopefully they follow through with it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Brian Kemp. I'm a undergraduate at Rutgers University, and I reside on College Ave. I'm very glad to be a part of this city. I'm a part of the small percentage of Rutgers students who commute between campuses on their bicycle. And the entrance point to the Lynch Memorial Bridge from George Street and College Ave, I've noticed that it's very dangerous. There's a distance between the street and the bike path to get on. And there's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on cars coming southbound onto George Street, but it seems that those speed limits are often disobeyed And to get my bike onto the bike path, you have to lift it up, and it's just a lot more time in the street that is very dangerous for myself and the other bikers who use the path. I'm not sure if this is something that is that would be taken care of by the New Jersey Department of Transportation, but I just wanted to address the council that it is very dangerous for bicyclers who are commuting between New Brunswick and Piscataway, and just to see if there could be anything done with it. The path is also not maintained very well. There's a lot of garbage, and the plants are kind of encroaching on either side of it. And I know that the council has taken a lot of steps to improve bicycle use within the city, and I very much appreciate that. It just seems that this area has been a little overlooked, so I very much appreciate it.
Patterson, do you know all that, or Mr. Goldman?
Yeah, he's right. It's not a good situation there. Unfortunately, that's not the city's jurisdiction. George Street in that area is county jurisdiction, and then when you get onto the bridge there, that's state highway jurisdiction. But we don't have too much to say on that. We've brought this up with the county a couple of times. Also talked about it with Rutgers Transportation. As far as something that really does need to be looked at, it's a missing link in the bicycle network that we hope to have when the new bike lane goes in next year, that the county's going to be doing along George Street in that area down to the Douglas campus. It really is a connection that does need to be made, and I suggest that you might want to go talk to the Board of Freeholders here to see if they could do something, because it would make a big positive change to be able to make that work there better. It's not the easiest thing to make it work. It's a difficult intersection here, but it really does need to be improved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, once again, Charles Craddock, New Brunswick. I'll be brief. I am thrilled to see so many people here at the meeting tonight. I think that's a great thing, and so many people that want to learn more and get involved and actually speak up about issues like the last gentleman. I second his issue. It's certainly a dangerous situation there. Just an idea. Going forward, rather than making expensive changes to this room, maybe the council could hold their meetings across the street in the county freeholder room, which is very nice and has an audio-video system built in and much more seating than this. Just an idea, worth considering. I was curious if anybody had any thoughts on that.
Don't have any plans, but do we know everything?
Cool. I wanted to ask if there was any more information about the fatal motor vehicle accident this weekend. I know it was kind of a crazy situation. Lots of cars were damaged and somebody lost their life.
Councilman, do you have anything to say? That's the one on North Brunswick.
There's one in North Brunswick, I can't comment on.
It happened in the North Brunswick side, as you know.
I do know, but the New Brunswick police were involved in a police chase that began in New Brunswick, so I just wanted to know if there was any information that...
As far as I was, whatever they have put on the newspaper, whatever is, that's the police matter, sometimes under investigation, as you know, that no comments can be made, but while you're ready, it's what it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Prosecutor's office, say whatever person is also talking about it. So.
Fair enough. I did want to acknowledge and say, rest in peace to the victim in that situation, and also in the murder last week on Baldwin Street, which was very unfortunate as well. Lastly, I just have 2 points. The College Avenue project that's being done, is there a parking component to that? Is there going to be a parking garage? Well, yeah, all the new stuff. Is there going to be a parking element or no?
So you're describing parking or
Parking.
The Lot 8 project does not have on-site parking for it. Rutgers is considering doing some additional parking, either surface or a deck in that area, but that would be Rutgers parking.
Okay, so it's maybe not at this point. Gotcha. And then the last point, sorry, 2 more points. I had mentioned 44 Lewis Street, the water leak there. That's been going on since July 28th, and water is just slipping away. It's taxpayer dollars. Is there an update on that situation?
To tell you the truth, I did not find out that I don't know if anybody here is stiff.
Yeah, we were told, we've been in contact with the homeowner, and we've been informed that they're pursuing their insurance. That's why it's taken so long to do, but we were told that the repair will be completed this Thursday.
Okay, good. I didn't see that. I was looking for you before, so.
Terrific. And then the last point I want to bring up, it's something I've talked about before, and I've asked before. Is there a clear policy on when the Nixle system is used by the police department and when it's not used?
Taylor, do you have?
We use the Nixle system to alert the public to dangers and emergencies and situations that would cause alarm.
Okay. That's not a very clear policy. is
What's
my
the next
point.
question, Mr. Carter? Because
Well,
I know
well-
you have another one behind that one.
So there's no more questions, but what I do want to point out is that other towns are using the Nixle system for different things. We had a gun buyback, that was a very successful thing. And South River PD, East Brunswick PD, and the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office used their Nixle system to get the word out about that. New Brunswick PD did not. If there was a policy, maybe we would have put it out. And I think there was a.
If we could just.
So we don't want to use the Nixle system just to put out general information. The city has a Facebook page, they have a web page, that's for general information. We want to use Nixles for emergencies only. Other towns look at it differently, but that's the way we do it here.
So that's the policy, Mr. Carter. right?
Okay, that's fair enough. I think maybe it's worth elaborating the policy, making it a little more clear. There was a bomb threat at an elementary school. That, to me, qualifies as an emergency. The Nixle system wasn't used, that's just one example. You know,
Got it.
the murder, the fatal motor vehicle accident wasn't used for that either. We used, in the past 2 months, it was used to mention the coyotes in Bugalo Park, that George Street was closed.
I just have one question, Mr. Carter, just out of curiosity. Why would we use a Nixle to say that on the 27th there was an accident and somebody got killed further up? What would that information assist the public?
If to avoid the area, if there was a criminal investigation or a traffic.
But there was none, probably there was something like that, it would have been, something in that instance, and then it ended up in North Brunswick. North Brunswick didn't put it out.
I noticed,
So-
yeah, they didn't.
So, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to tell, to see what is it that, what would be the gain of the community. I could see a gain when there's a threat to the community, to the safety of the community, to use the Nixle. But there's a two sides, because I know some people that have Nixle that convert that way or other areas, and they get tired because they send for it.
Too
Every
many,
little thing
yeah.
they keep sending announcements on the phone. So that's why, sometimes it's better just to do what is a threat to the community, to the residents of New Brunswick, and anything that they might deem that is necessary for all of us to know.
Right, and I'm glad we're having this discussion. I just think it benefits the community to have the discussion and to come up with a policy that clearly says, hey, if there's a lane closure or planned construction, we're going to use it, or we're only going to use it for emergencies, or we're going to use it if there's a major car accident, or we're going to use it if there's a dangerous criminal on the loose. But we got to have a policy. That's all I asked. I want there to be a policy. I hope we do that. Thank you. Have a good night.
Next, before we close the. I just have one question, one request from you, if it's possible, because I know you translate for them. To be fair, just thinking about it, I don't mind, I continue to translate for them. I think it's, I have no challenges with that. But I think that to be fair to the rest, and just in case they later on nobody said I omitted something or so forth, which I don't think I did or had done it, but I think it's better that you translate for them so that way because we avoid any challenges in the future.
Sounds good. I'll admit though you're better translator than I am. I'll do my best.
Thank you. Se tiene que acercar al micrófono, por favor. Diga su nombre y dirección. Stay close to the microphone and state your name and address.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es María. Estoy en representación de Niembergo y Unity Squad.
So she says her name is Mary Mendoza and she's representing New Labor and Unity Square.
Necesitamos una ordenanza que pueda prevenir el robo de salarios de los obreros, los cuales son la manutención de su familia. Por esta causa, pedimos el apoyo y la colaboración en la recolección de salarios no pagados.
So she's saying that we need an ordinance that can prevent wage theft and for those workers that maintain their families. For this reason, we ask the help and collaboration of to collect back wages from wage theft from the city council.
El robo de salario cientos de miles de dólares cada año por no pagar el salario mínimo, $7.25 en New Jersey. No pagan hacer detención de salario a los empleados. Malintencionados, estos cometen un crimen contra de sus trabajadores, contra la comunidad. Sin embargo, con demasiada frecuencia, estos crímenes quedan impunes.
I got a translation here that'll help me out. Wage theft robs our community of hundreds of thousands of dollars each year by failing to pay the minimum wage, $7.25 in New Jersey, overtime pay, or withholding wages. Bad employers are committing a crime against their workers and our community. Yet too often these crimes go unpunished.
Por lo tanto, pedimos al Consejo de la Ciudad de New Brunswick unirse con los empleadores responsables, los trabajadores y el pueblo de New Brunswick para poner fin a este crimen, aprobando una ordenanza que haga a los empleadores responsables de sus acciones, cancelando sus licencias comerciales si no cumplen con las leyes de robo de salario.
Therefore, we ask the City Council of New Brunswick to stand with responsible employers, workers, and the people of New Brunswick and put an end to this crime by passing an ordinance that holds bad employers accountable for their action by tying business licenses to adherence to state and federal wage theft laws.
¿Algo más?
Sí. La comunidad está de acuerdo con la necesidad de esta ordenanza y ha contribuido con sus firmas expresando su apoyo y las cuales hemos ya colectado 1,000 firmas.
So she said that the community stands with this call for this ordinance against wage theft, and the members of New Labor and also Union Square have been going out for the past 3 weeks and collecting signatures, and collected over 1,000 signatures from the community saying that they would like to see this ordinance passed.
I just want to say that I met with Mr. Hamilton, and hopefully for the next meeting we will have a proposed ordinance dealing with wage theft. We are, as a council, we recognize that it's a challenge that our residents are going through. And to the best of our abilities, we're putting one together that hopefully will be put at least, it's the beginning of a conversation of stopping this crime against workers. So quiero dejarles saber que yo me reuní con el abogado de la ciudad el lunes y ya comenzamos a hacer, hicimos una propuesta de una ordenanza. So, probablemente para la próxima reunión del Consejo Municipal vamos a tener una. Es una que por lo menos habla y va a tratar de evitar que se sigan estos crímenes del robo de salario. Al menos, si no es perfecta, va a ser el principio para poder lidiar con ese problema que está sucediendo en nuestra comunidad. Okay? Gracias. Thank you.
Just one thing I wanted to add to that. Craig, I see from New
No
Labor.
questions.
Yeah, sure. To educate our members about it, we try not to speak for them, so if there's a way to, get us an idea of what you guys are thinking of, so we could, talk to them about it, so they could prepare some thoughts on it.
Yeah, that's not the usual way of doing it. We will have it presented here, you will have it, the public will have a chance to look at it. And when it's presented, it's not about we're going to vote on it, it's on first reading, then we will have to, it's going to be posted for first reading, and then when it comes to that, we will have a chance to look at it and discuss it with the constituency, and hopefully, we will take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Teodoro Pagan. I live in New Brunswick for 53 years. I got a son, he born over here, he's a cop in New Brunswick. And I respect the police because I've been working with them all the time. Now, I have a little problem. Two things I'm going to tell you. This thing about the house next to mine. It's been for almost 10 years.
Mr. Pagan, what was it about? Sorry, I didn't.
That's a house next to my house.
There's a house?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're begging. Okay, the bank take it over, they're not doing anything. You can see the garbage. You can see the grass, everything so high. You can't even see the house no more.
Which is the address, Mr. Pagan?
145 Joaquin Avenue.
So there's garbage in the area and it's.
That's ridiculous. Lot of smell, lot of animal, all kinds of sex. I don't know why the city not doing something about it. Because if that house is there, they should knock it down. I mean, you know, the roof is bad, rusty. It's rusty all over in there. That's how it make it asbestos. Dangerous.
We will advise the inspection department and see if they have a picture, they have done something, but we will see what they have done, and if, you know.
Well, they go in there, they put the red ticket in there, but after that, they don't do anything.
Mrs. Gaten has something to address
Also,
that.
Mr. Pagan, just so you know, I'm the housing prosecutor, and that's been an ongoing problem because of all the foreclosures that have been filed. We don't know who the owners are anymore, we don't know where they moved to. And until the deed transfers, giving the property over to the bank, we just don't know how to serve these people. We've done postal lookups, we checked with the tax assessors to see if the transfer deeds have been filed, but until that time, it's just going to take some time. And sometimes we, as a city, we have to clean up the property ourselves and lien the property. So it's just because there are so many foreclosures that have been filed, it's just an inordinate amount of properties that are in the same position as yours.
But I will say, Mr. Pagan, that we're gonna address it, we're gonna see what they have been done. We have, like Ms. Gaten said, that we have, in the past, the city has to do the job. So if this is the case that we're gonna have to go and do it, then we will address it that way. So let us investigate and see, and if not, then we will take action.
That house belongs to the Chase Manhattan Bank. That's a sign in it, Chase Manhattan Bank.
Okay,
And the guy, I saw him, he go in there and pick some mail.
so we will address it, we will address it one way or another.
My son is a cop, and he find out, he worked with, with the prison personnel there. And he find out, he got about a lot of fine, because he never paid ticket for nothing. And they look for him, okay?
But in the meantime, I think that we will try to see what we can do as a city in the meantime, because I know it's not, having that next to you is not a pretty sight, and it's.
But somebody have to leave, go in there, clean it out, and do something about it, because that's mail bad, a lot of animal, a lot of all kinds of sex, the people, they're crazy, they're coming, paper all over, all the garbage, all over it.
Let us investigate, and if there's, like I said, in the past, we have seen that the city has to clean it and pay for it, so, and then charge the landlord or the owner of the property later on. So let's investigate, and that might be a possibility. Let's see what happens, okay? Maybe hopefully for the next meeting, we'll have an answer for you. Okay?
Another thing I'm gonna talk about, I live over there by Sanford Street. That's the dangerous street, right there. Now, long times ago, we try and get the red light there, and every day. The people that come from the Sanford Street to Joaquin, they don't make it stop. It's an accident all over in there, all the time. That's ridiculous. I mean, I saw the people there, even the Spanish people, they go in there, they don't care about it. Now, they should do something about that, because, my God, a lot of people get an accident, they get sick. And if you say something to them, they don't care about it. And believe me, that's ridiculous, what they do. They don't stop for nothing, they keep going. And the car comes from Joaquin Avenue, sometimes they come too fast. And bang, there you go. I mean, they should do something about that place there. Because I live in the corner. Sometimes the car have an accident go to my house. They break my step, they break the thing, they go up over the other house.
Thank you, Mr.
So, I don't blame the police, because the police do the work they have to do. But leave, they have to do something about that place over there, because that's ridiculous.
Thank you.
That's the only thing I want to do.
We're right here to see what would be an option for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have another thing to talk about, the children, the bicycle. And Joaquin Avenue, there's a parking there, right? You see the children play around on the road. The driver can do nothing about it. Sometimes they don't care. I mean, they should do something about the bicycle. Because too many bicycles and too many children, they're playing on the road. I mean, if I hit somebody, oh my God, I have to pay for them, okay? And that's their fault, because they're playing around. They should do something about it. They should make it, but give life for those bicycles. Like
You know, that's another thing is educating the community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Shabazz.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
Not as well as I should be.
I was waiting for you.
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
looking for you.
Yes, ma'am.
I received your letter.
What?
We
Oh.
received the letter.
Right.
And let me start by premising you, before you start, let me tell you that, I apologize for what had taken up, what happened with this case. I know that you have done what we have asked you to do. You have done the process. You have done everything that in my opinion, my point of view. And I just talking for myself, and I just wanted to know that. And I thank you for your patience. I thank you for, being open to the things that we have told you to do and done it. So I apologize right here in public for the lateness. It's unacceptable. I just want you to know that.
And I appreciate that, and I would actually wanted to start off by actually commending the council. This is the first thing I've ever been able to commend the council for. So publicly, I want to commend the council for banning the fracking. That was a very good thing. Wanted to commend you for that. But now, however, I have 3 serious concerns to share with the council and the community, but I'm going to just limit it to one tonight. I want to express my concern regarding facts that completely contrast the public reports of the community liaison to give, in my opinion, a more accurate account of the true state of this alleged reform of internal affairs. The facts are, about 2 years ago, after the Barry DeLoach killing and the Sergeant Richard Rowe indictment, the people requested a civilian review board, but instead Mayor Cahill established the community liaison office and independent hearing officer, with the stated objective being reform and transparency in police accountability, and to assist citizens in filing internal affairs complaints and scheduling hearings for anyone who believes their internal affairs complaints were not processed properly, so they may get a fair review and immediate attention and action. Emphasis on immediate attention and action. Unfortunately, I have been requesting a hearing for almost 2 years now, which is absolutely ridiculous. Although hearings have been scheduled before, they have all ended up being canceled by the liaison officer. To my knowledge, not one single hearing has been conducted since the inception of the mayor's so-called new protocols. And from what I just heard earlier, they acknowledged, the council acknowledged that not one hearing has been conducted. So it's not a guess on my part, it's actual fact. So in the 2 years, no hearings. Yet I know people are requesting hearings.
No, that's not true.
The totality of these circumstances demonstrates that the mayor's so-called reforms and new protocols have failed to achieve their stated objectives and failed miserably. These failures even appear to be deliberate, in my opinion, where the whole process has been intentionally sabotaged from the start. For instance, taking almost 2 years to conduct a hearing, as in my case, fails to live up to the mayor's promise of immediate attention and action, and cannot reasonably be explained no matter what lame excuses may be manufactured or offered. So it's obvious to any reasoning mind that there's been a deliberate delay and attempt to avoid my hearing and keep it from happening. In support of my claims, I present this last fact. After almost 2 years of diligently pursuing my opportunity to have an independent hearing, at a meeting held at Ms. Gayden's office, I once again continued to push for finally getting the hearing date, and instead of scheduling a hearing date, Ms. Gayden actually tried to dissuade me from having the hearing, which is completely contrary to what her duty and role is as a community liaison officer. And her attempt to dissuade me demonstrates to me that the city does not want me to have the hearing. And this makes me extremely concerned that my hearing will continue to be canceled and delayed, or if I finally get the hearing, it will not really be a fair hearing anyway. Or even after I prove my allegations, which I will, according to the preponderant standard of evidence, the hearing officer can still only make a recommendation for internal affairs to reopen the case or reopen the investigation, but has absolutely no power to order and compel them to do so. So internal affairs could very well thumb their nose at the hearing officer's recommendation and blatantly refuse to reopen the investigation, which I expect them to do. If that happens, then what meaningful purpose does Mayor Whitney's hearing process really serve, other than an exercise in futility? As leading officials of New Brunswick, council members, please address my concerns in a meaningful way.
I just, like I just stated, I think that, I understand your frustration, I really do. I don't think it reflects Mayor Cato's the process, the way it is. I know that there were some circumstances in both sides, but I do 100% understand your frustration because I would be too in your place. And I don't think that it has, I just wanted to know, I don't think it was done deliberately. I think that other things, things have been hindering that the case have been, to be heard. But I was assured that you have already a hearing date set. So.
Yes, I just got it a few days ago.
Yes, so
after I filed the complaint letters with you.
I make sure that you had that hearing date set.
I appreciate it.
So,
Thank you.
like I said, be patient. Thank you for you have done what you have to do, and just let's go through the process because again, other people, I don't think anybody has gone to. Oh, if I'm mistaken, I'm just getting you to correct me, but I don't think anybody else has requested a hearing.
No, no one has.
That we know of.
That's not true. Mr. Tim McDougal requested a hearing.
Well, let's talk, at that point, with you. So let's just, I thank you again for your patience, and let's finish this, with all these challenges, those are growing pains, our new process. But again, thank you for your patience.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Just for clarification, Mr. McDougal has never asked for a hearing. Mr. Shabazz is the only one who's ever asked for a hearing.
That's what I'm not addressing it because Mr. McDougal is not here, so I'm not going to address that. Thank you. Yes?
Keith Jones, 56 McDrive. I just wanted to remind the council and everybody here that this upcoming Sunday, New Brunswick will be participating in its first Ciclovia. And what that means is the city of New Brunswick will be closing off about 4 miles of the city from Joyce Kimber Avenue, Teen Center, all the way to Bugalo Park with the anchor downtown New Brunswick, which opens the streets up for members of the community, far and wide, to ride bicycles, rollerblades, skate, dance, Zumba, bring out your skateboards, bring out your rollerblades. And this is to promote community, this is to promote health and activity and wellness. We want people outside in the streets, we don't want people in the house on video games all day. So we want to get everybody out from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. This summer, October 6th. There's no start or end to this particular event. You can get on the route anywhere you want. We have a bunch of small businesses that are participating in this event. You have Rutgers University, Johnson & Johnson, City Administration, New Brunswick Tomorrow, you name it. We're also raffling off 10 bikes for residents of the city. So you can, enter your name and drive a brand new bike the day up. So I'm asking that all of you here go out and tell your family, tell your friends. What normally happens is we get a lot of people in our events from far and wide, but we really don't have, the city involved, the residents, the local residents. So we really want the local residents to participate in this event. This will be one of 4 that we're trying to get done. We want this to be a quarterly thing. In Bogota, Colombia, they do this every Sunday. They shut down the entire city. And so we're going to be one of the first in New Jersey to get this done. So I'm asking everybody here to come out and participate, have some fun, let your hair down, and enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Hola, buenas noches. Mi nombre es Bonfilia.
Bonfilia, disculpen un momentito, Jason o somebody should, me gustaría a alguien que le traduzca para...
Yo soy miembro de mi ley, ¿no? Sí, estuve en la reunión pasada.
She's a member of New Labor. She spoke at the meeting last time.
Me dirijo a ustedes con respeto y a las personas que están aquí presentes.
I wanted to say to you and everyone present.
Una de las causas de nosotros es luchar contra el robo de salario. Pero está pasando más cosas en la comunidad que no nos está agradando porque todos somos miembros de la comunidad.
So one of the things that New Labor does is fight against wage theft, but there's also other problems in the community. And, yeah.
De hecho, mi niña estuvo intoxicada por comprar productos ya caducados.
Yeah, her daughter got sick from buying a bad product, from bad products. Expired products.
De hecho, las marquetas están poniendo los productos ya dañados, ya fuera de la caducidad.
There's stores that have been putting things in on the shelves past date.
De hecho, yo traigo las pruebas, traigo el ticket de la compra y creo que no es justo de que nos roben también en esa forma y también pueden envenenar a los niños y a las personas.
So she bought a couple of things that she bought that were past date, and she has the ticket to show that they were. She bought them. Yeah, she bought them by the.
No, ¿dónde usted compró? ¿Dónde hizo las compras?
En 139 French es una marqueta de chinos.
It's the farmer's market store on French Street. Yeah.
De hecho, esto no ha pasado nada más en esta marqueta. He comprado en varias marquetas y es lo mismo. He comprado productos mexicanos de la marca Loxmex, que es yogures.
So, and it's not just in that store, it's in other stores too. There's just bought some Mexican products.
I have one question. When you have bought those products, have you notified the Department of Health? Because they are the ones that take care of that situation, they get inspected, all these places get inspected. ¿Usted notificó al Departamento de Salud cuando le ha pasado esto? Porque ellos son los encargados, nosotros no somos los encargados, ellos son los encargados.
De hecho, yo fui a la marqueta y le dije que estaban vendiendo los productos caducados. Y me dijeron que si tenían ticket yo podía hacer mi reclamo.
So she said she went to the store and showed them, and they said that she could replace it. We'll help her file a claim with the department.
I think that that's the best way to, to educate our communities on ways that they could be empowered to call the Department of Health, get them to know, and then, because that's the first step that it should take place, and it's something that it continues to do so in certain stores. I'm pretty sure the city will be flagged because we get a report of all the inspections that are done in the city with all the restaurants, so it will be something that we will know ahead of time and then we will do something about it, okay? Pero le estaba diciendo que el primer paso es educar a nuestra gente, nuestra comunidad, de que tienen que llamar al Departamento de Salud. Ellos son la agencia encargada de inspeccionar a estos establecimientos. So, después que ustedes hagan eso como comunidad, nosotros recibimos todos los meses, ellos van a inspeccionar los diferentes establecimientos de la ciudad. Una vez hagan eso, si ellos son los que dan multas o pueden cerrar una tienda por vender productos que no son buenos. Una vez eso suceda, ya nosotros sabemos y podemos saber cuáles son los que están recurriendo, que están haciendo lo mismo. Entonces ahí nosotros podemos hacer algo, ¿ok?
Gracias.
Pero muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Gracias a ustedes.
So just, get in touch with the Department of Health. Thank you.
Mel Pittman, 291 Cedar Street, North. First, I want to commend your stance on fracking. It's impressive, and I like to commend the consistency of the people coming here, each council meeting, and advocating what they felt concerned about. I think that's a win for the people. I think the people actually got something that they wanted. Also, I want to send my courage. Well, I want to send my support and my courage to all the women, but especially the women that suffer from breast cancer, because this month is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I was going to wear pink, but...
Real men wear pink, Mr. Pickman. Real Real men wear pink.
Real men?
Okay, yes, sir.
Not in my
Wear pink.
neighborhood. I also, to piggyback off of Brother Aaron Shabazz's concern as far as the entire community liaison system. He asked a question and I don't think it was answered. He asked, what is the effectiveness of it? And no one answered that question because I was a part of the process, but I've actually brought people to speak with Ms. Gayden, and if there's a system that we can put in place to really structure the community, just knowing that the situation that Richard wrote, 2 years probation, still receiving his pension. This is a guy that destroyed the entire trust of the community. So this was put in place to assure that we get trust. And now, hearing that this new system is not effective is a double slap in the face of the community. It's a double, he shouldn't have to come here and wait for 2 years for a hearing, and then when he finally get the hearing officer he's gone now. You don't even have one anymore.
Who's going to?
Oh, you have a replacement?
Yes, sir.
Judge Hall?
They will put it, yes.
Okay. But I question the effectiveness of this entire community liaison ordeal. And I know Ms. Gale, she has my personal number, I have her personal number. It's not a personal attack. I honestly believe, me speaking personally with her, she can be effective. My personal belief is, there's something in her way. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it's something in her way. But I honestly, from speaking with her and just on general conversation, and I think that she can be effective. I think that, there's something in the way that's tied up, and if there is something that needs to be removed immediately, because the community can't continue to go through this type of situation of not having faith in going to sign a complaint with police officers. They have to be encouraged, they have to have the strength to go and sign a complaint and not fear that it will get tossed again, because there's nothing in place to stop that. And my other concern is, I raised the issue last week of 5 police officers. Now, it was huge to me, but I mentioned a situation where an officer mentioned 5 other officers that he would like to have removed. Now, after the meeting, I deliberately stayed here. Normally, I'm the first, I get out of here. Now I take off, I hit the steps. But I deliberately stayed here. I was the last person to leave the last council meeting. And now, no one from the council, the captain, the ex-director, no one approached me and said, "Tumel, what was that? What took place the day prior? What was the name of the officer? What time did this take place?" And I felt like that was, I wasn't surprised, but I was disappointed. Because I mentioned 5 officers, and I guarantee you nobody in this room still remember the names that I mentioned. And I want to, that's neglect on you guys' behalf. I think that, those officers should be looked at. I think that officer should be questioned for him mentioning 5 of his co-workers, for him even raising that issue. But, it kind of leads me to believe that you guys don't care. You guys don't even care. I wasn't even approached. Captain Miller raised issues all the time. Captain Miller stood up loud and proud and said, "Yeah, well, you know what, Tumel Pittman's house was raided and we found this, that, and the other, and da. And then, he brought that out of the sky. But when I mentioned something about 5 officers that should be removed, he stood silent. He didn't open his mouth. And you, the same note. When I mentioned something, when I mentioned something about Mike Beltran's daughter, what did you come to the hall when you told me? You said Tumel Pittman. That was a low blow, right? But you don't understand, listen, he mentioned going to my house. Do you understand my grandmother was 81? Ran up in my house. They had her sitting in a chair for about 3 hours, slumping over. So for him to bring that up, that was a low blow, and didn't anybody say anything. So the gloves came off. But you also mentioned, when I said, I said, Miss Escobar, you have no idea how these police are. And what did you tell me? What did you tell me?
I don't recall you telling the truth.
You said you'd be surprised. I know how these police are, because I used to work with them. So I have an idea how these police are. So everybody knows how these officers are. You guys allow me to come up here for 2 years, yelling and screaming. You'd be surprised. I don't like doing this. I come here and I raise issues that I think are effective. People contact me on all types of silly situations that go on with the city administration, in the city. Who's sleeping with who, who's doing this, and who's doing that. I like not to even bring that stuff up. I think that's petty to me. So-and-so is doing this, that, and the other. This is a bunch of nonsense that people hit me with. I choose to come here and raise serious concern. But it seems like it always get ignored, like it was the last council meeting.
Well, I just have to, in the issue with the internal affairs and procedures that we have.
Yes.
You know that somebody, and I told you this also, that is internal affairs team was really good. People are open to do that. The process is there. This procedure that it was instituted after the incidents that happened in the city, which are related, and it's just for those who felt that their cases were not heard or were not handled properly. That's why this new procedure was done. Obviously, we have no idea of how effective it is or not, because we haven't, this is first, before you go, in the sense that we haven't even, from what I see, like I told Mr. Shabazz, I'm like, I have to apologize, that's unacceptable, the time that he had to wait. There's no doubt about that. The process in terms of the hearing and everything else, we haven't even looked because we haven't been able to do that yet. And in order to fix an issue, a challenge, we need to wait until the process is done and then fix if this needs to be fixed or tweak it here and there. Right now, the process, my SIM that is not working, because of all the challenges that he had encountered, but I still believe in the process. That's why I thank you for being patient that to finish, because I still believe in the process. Let's see what happens. Again, it's a new thing. I don't think that nobody's deliberately behind all these delays. I think it's just
conspiracy theories.
I understand that that's your personal opinion and that's your personal experience, and that's for you, that's valid, but it's not for me. In terms of the police officers, I think that we have always said that we have great officers in the city of New Brunswick. And if I did say that, you would be surprised, because I did work in the police department many years ago.
Right.
It really upsets me when somebody generalizes that all officers are the same. Because they are.
Don't do
Let
that.
me finish.
Don't do that.
Let me finish, Mr.
You know what you
Pittman.
told me in the hallway.
No, let me finish, Mr. Pittman.
You know what you told me in the hallway.
I did work with them, and not all officers are like that, because I know a lot of officers in the police department who, again, not all of them. I don't like when people generalize that everybody's the same, because it's not. And let me finish my statement. That there are some that it's like any other institution, any other thing, that there's some that they need to be, tweak, and they need to get their. I was one that I fought when I was there to have the cultural diversity training for them. So I know that they get all that information. And I'm saying, that's your experience, and the experience of the people that you have are different than mine. I haven't experienced it, and because I haven't experienced that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that either. What I'm telling you is that there's a lot of very good officers in the police department, and it upsets me, it's a shame that they are put in the same category, because one or two are doing whatever it is that the community feels that they're doing, and everybody's put in the same category. That's not fair. That's the only thing that I'm saying. But I take your point, duly noted. Thank you. And the reason I didn't ask, because I wanted to talk to you right here when I finish. You know that I have to stay here and sign all these papers. And you were not here, and I need to do that. And you usually come, and you were here with me. You asked me for my email address.
Yeah.
So, and when I was signing, so we should have addressed it with a little time. But that's okay. Next time, I will make a bigger effort to get you, because you're usually out of here before I want to talk to you.
No, all right.
So, okay? I cannot speak for everybody else, but thank you, duly noted.
Wait, I understand that. I understand, and I didn't say that all police officers are bad. We agreed on the bad ones. And like I said, that's statement. I hear a lot about, I hear a lot of talk about all police officers are bad. You're right, but all gangbangers aren't bad either. I never heard that statement when they brought it. So we can look at that also. But ask Captain Miller why he didn't approach me on the 5 names that I mentioned.
I think that's something that you should talk about it afterwards. I really don't want to get into
I'll address
it. Go ahead, Captain Miller.
Mr. Pittman likes to grandstand and tell stories, and everyone listens to her in the audience. How does Mr. Pittman know that we didn't interview the officer he spoke to? How does Mr. Pittman know we didn't interview 5 officers whose names came up? How does he know that we don't know about other things that were talked about in that conversation that Mr. Pittman didn't mention at the meeting?
Oh, I mentioned, I hope there's a recording.
Right here, Mr. Pittman.
I hope there's a recording in that record. Because I stand.
How do you know that the
Let's
investigation?
Wait, I hope there's a recording.
Excuse me, Mr. Pittman, and Captain Miller.
I hope there's a
Yes,
recording.
Mr. Pittman,
I'm talking to you.
yes, but let me say something. Let's have this conversation with respect. Let's
I don't want to have this
So
conversation
then
right
we won't
now.
have-
I
we're
don't
gonna have it.
want
I said that we're gonna have it. What I'm saying is let's have it with respect. Let's listen to
All
each
right.
other because we cannot talk, or everybody talking at the same time, we won't be able to hear each other. So let's
Well-
have respect as we always do. So let's
Okay.
say
I'll
your
say
statement.
this.
If Captain Miller wishes to answer, he answers. If not, the conversation is over.
He
Thank you.
didn't answer.
That's, you were talking, all of you didn't let him finish, and you were already talking
Okay.
over him, so respond to Captain Miller.
Okay, go ahead, I'll give him an opportunity to answer.
He just answered to you.
My
that
answer
there's
is,
no
how do you
way.
know we did not do an investigation?
I'm asking. I don't know, that's why I asked.
No, you said we didn't
We
talk to
didn't have.
anyone.
No, you didn't approach me. I
Right.
said I didn't approach
You,
you.
I listened to you, I took notes at the beginning.
Let's do this, because
Okay.
we're not gonna get
Hold on,
anywhere. at this-
hold on.
No, hold on, Mr. Pittman. I'm running the meeting. Let's do this. After the meeting, you can have your conversation and have, he already answered to you how do you know? And that was another thing that I was gonna do. You don't know if I asked or everybody else asked, about this. So let's finish this conversation on that. Let's have it, you could talk to Mr. Captain Miller afterward if you want to know more about the information, but you already said that. How do you know? You could answer each other later on.
All right,
Thank you.
no, not a thing, because this is the situation.
I'm gonna continue
Because,
with the
because, no, when you come here, and the first he said, how do you know I didn't ask? He's already on his defense from something that, from a concern that I raised. I spoke to officers I spoke to those officers for about an hour and a half.
Yes, you said that at the last
I didn't,
time.
say- and listen, everything I said, we talk back and forth. I'm the person, I stand by everything I say. If I say you said something, one thing I don't do is I don't lie on people because I hate to be lied on. So I don't lie. If I say you said something, like when you said that at home, you said it.
I never said that anything, I said that.
Okay, but I'm saying, whatever they say, I stand behind it. I'm a man and I stand behind mine. And for those officers, obviously he's on the defense. He's gonna protect whoever he could, you know what I mean? And that's disrespectful to the community, that's disrespectful. He could raise any, I hope there's a recording in that ring. I hope, if there's a recording, I would like that entire conversation to be played.
So at this time, Mr. Pittman, I thank you. We're gonna take it, we're gonna talk. There's, Captain Mueller said that he said that, how do you know? Because you made an assumption.
No, because he initially disrespected, said I grandstand.
Listen to me, Mr. Pittman, because when you addressed the way that you said it, it was making an assumption. You told all of us that we didn't do this. That
You didn't approach me.
That's why we didn't approach you, but that doesn't mean that we didn't approach the right source. So at this point, thank you for your comment. I enjoyed having you at this meeting. And if you have any other questions, you could ask Captain Miller afterwards, okay? Thank you so much for your support.
Motion we
Thank you. Second, can I have a second?
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Council Vice President Egan. Yes. Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Escobar.
Yes.